Is Harita from the Department of Public Administration. So I'm Dr. Harita. Today we'll be talking about, now we are in SEM 5, BA SEM 5, and our subject in SEM 5 is Human Resource Management. That is also, we can term it as HRM. In this HRM, first, before starting the class about the topic, I would like to just give an overall view of the syllabus, and also I would like to explain the overall syllabus in a crisp manner. That is, first I would like to discuss, or I would like to throw light on the syllabus of your SEM 5. And in that, we will be discussing about each module, and I'll be trying to give you inputs about the importance of that topics. Okay. So first, we will be discussing about the first one, that is the first one, human resource management overview. That is, in the first block, we will be discussing about the first module, where what is human resource management, what are the strategies involved in human resource management. Then secondly, in the block 2, we will be discussing about the human resource management, job analysis, job description, and the other concepts. That is, where how a job has to be taken, what are the analysis, how the job has to be considered, from the organizational perspective, and as well as from the employee's perspective, or the person who tries to apply for a new job. So in these regards, and later on we will be discussing in module 3 about the incentive management. Incentive management can be also termed as compensation, pay, all this. That is, what an employee gets from the organization. In a simple terms, we can say that it is all about the salary, or the remuneration, or the pay, what the organization pays to the employees. So that we can discuss in the module 3. Now, in the module 4, human resource development. Human resource development consists of performance appraisals, competency mapping systems, employee capacity, total quality management. Now, what is this human resource development? That is, now in the before topics, or the topics which in block 1 and 2 or 3 explain us about the organization and the working of the organization, how the employer employee relation is being maintained. Now in this block 4, we will be discussing about the capacity building, or the performance appraisal. Now, what is this performance appraisal? Performance appraisal is the concept of the taking the report of the work of the employees. That is, if an employee, now we can say that overall the performance of the employees in that scheduled period of time, that is, it might be 1 year, it might be 6 months, based on their performances only, the pay or the incentives, rewards are being calculated. So this is a very, very important topic to understand and to move. Now, in the last module, that is fourth to fifth module, there we will be discussing about the issues in human resource development. Now, what are the issues in this human resource development? That can be redressal to employee grievances. That is, now, as we all know, that when we work in the organizations, we have some grievances. Grievance is the what we encounter, or in simple terms we can say, so each one of the employee might be having, might not be satisfied with the organization. It might be about the pay, it might be about the work conditions, it might be about the colleagues, or the management, or the work, whoever it might be. Each one of the employee might be having some inner thoughts that this should be right, or this should be addressed. So that is termed as the grievance. Now, so when we talk now, why we are compiling all this? Because we are talking about human resource management. human resource management. Now we will move on to our topic, and today I'll be discussing about the block 1, that is human resource management and overview. In that I'll be discussing the unit 1 HRM, in that human resource management. In that I'll be discussing about the meaning, significance, objectives, functions, and the scope of HRM. So let's begin the first topic, human resource management. In this, what is first, I would like to explain to you what is human resource management, the title of our topic. That is, now this has 3 words: human, resource, and management. Human, we all know that we are human beings, that is the workforce, or we can say who can work. So the here we don't discuss in this human resource management, or when we talk about HR, as it is being commonly called as, now it has become a buzzword in the organizations, and more we can see this HR in the private sector. That I want to, many of them are aspiring for to go for and pursue their MBAs, and mostly the girls choose this HR topic and want to become an HR managers. So this HRM or HR is a very, very sorted out subject in the post graduation levels. So now, as I have told you, we have to first throw light on the title of our subject, that is human resource management. As I told you, human resource, human is the workforce, or the people who can give their man hours for the development of the organization. We don't consider the children or the senior citizens. Now, who are being considered in this workforce? The age group, from the 18 to 45, the age group from 18 to 45 is considered to be. Now I'm not saying that above 80 45 people cannot work. No, they can, but the enthusiastically, with more energy, with more capabilities, or we can say in all these aspects, we can consider them. Now, the human development report also says that the workforce, or the age group between the 18 to 45 years, are considered to be the workforce of India. And moreover, in the India stands in a better place, or I can say on the first place of having so much of human resource, because we have these human resource, the age group of 18 to 45 people, more in number compared to other countries. So we have to be very proud to be in the workforce group, and standing number 1 in the whole world. Now, as I have explained you what is human, now we will discuss about the resource. Resource, the name itself says resource. So what is source? Source is the energy what we get. Now we have natural sources, that is the sun is a natural source of energy. Like that, now resource, resource means the energy which can be utilized again and again, is termed as a resource. Now, we all know human labor, human energy can be utilized, or the man hours of the human being can be utilized multiple times, that is day by day. Every day it can be utilized. Hence, it is termed as resource. Now, what is management? Now, when this workforce is being utilized to in the achieving the objectives of the organization, they have to be managed, that is in an planned manner, how they are working. They have to be given work schedules. They have to be in a coordination should exist between them with cooperation. So when all these come together in the organization, then it can be termed as HRM. So HRM is the workforce the workforce of them, the man hours of a person which can be utilized every day or multiple times in a collaboration with each one of them, that it can be termed as human resource management. So this is human resource management, the topic of our this semester. Now, as we are discussing the first topic, that is human resource management, an overview. First, I would like to throw light on the phrase human resource. Human resource or HR. Now, this HR means salaried people working in formal organizations. As I told you, that the workforce which have the capability in giving their man hours in the development of the organization or in achieving the organizational goal, that can be termed as human resources. Now, management, the next word is management. Management is basically considered with how to optimize and make use of limited resources to meet the organizational goals. That is, as I told you. Now, if, for example, if 10 people are working in the organization, and the organization has to take the work or the man hours of these 10 people in a very, very efficient manner. That is, they should be, if a work has to be completed within 1 week of time, how nicely or how efficiently the organization tries to extract work from those 10 people to finish the task within 10 days or the stipulated time. So this is human resource management. Now, now we will be discussing the definition of human resource management. I think I have made clear what is human resource management. Now, I would like to just read out the definition of human resource management, and then I'll explain this definition. Now, this definition was being given by Edward Flippo. According to him, he says that human resource management has been defined as planning, organizing, directing, controlling of the procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance, and separation of human resources to the end that the individual, organizational, and social objectives are achieved. Now, just I have read the definition. From later on, we will be. Now, here he has used so many words: planning, organizing, directing, controlling. Now, these have to be utilized. These have to be, whatever the terms I have used now, these have to be utilized in achieving the objectives or goals of the organization. So he tries to put forward a very, very, I can say, a very, very thoughtful definition which wholly explains about the human resources or the workforce. Now, later on, we can, in this definition only, he has compiled the whole concept of HRM. Now, later, I would like to talk about each and every topic, whatever is there in the definition. I would like to talk later part in the topic. I would like to throw light on these points. So just remember the definition. Now, the next we will talk about the HRM in government and private organizations. Now, previously, this term HR or human resource management was not, or we can say, was not being considered so important, was not being given so importance, I can say. But later on, after 1990s, after the yeah, introduction of the LPG, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization, the new economic reforms, thus where it has paved way for more of private sector, more of introduction of private sector into the system and into the country, which have given or which has elevated the economic growth of the country, the social and economic growth of the country, and as well as it has given more scope for in the overall development of the country. Now, when we talk about in the concept of HR, I can say that this HR has given HR has given more scope for development in regard to jobs, because more private organizations started to open up or started to invest. We can just consider the multinational companies which have come up and set up their companies in India, throughout India, where now we can take the best example of Telangana or the Hyderabad, where the IT boom is so high, and it is the Telangana state is number one in the present scenario for these investments, job opportunities on the private sector. So we can say that HR is a very, very important uh, concept, whereby it will give a overall view of the subject. So when we came to know what is HRM, what is the meaning of HRM, then when we have discussed the definition of HRM, now we will try to discuss the difference of HRM between the government organizations and the private organizations. Now, when we take up the government organizations, in this government organizations, the HR can be implemented, and it is conditioned by the government in the form and work in the legal format, I can say. And we see more of HR can be implemented. The human resource is being implemented in the government sector on the legal format, and it works on the legal format, and as well as the most important thing on these legal formats, I can say, is the reservations. Now, what is reservations? That is, people who are from the backward classes, the SC, STs, or the economically weaker sections. In the government sector, the recruitment or the human resource is being taken on these grounds. Means everybody is given I can say that social justice prevails in the government sector, that is giving importance to each and everybody. But coming to the private sector, we see no reservations, only merit. Whoever is meritorious, whoever has that capability, that I can say that whoever has that ability to perform, ability to conquer, ability to move forward in the achieving the targets, innovative thoughts, innovative methods, all these make a person climb the ladder in the private organizations, and there is no scope, or I can say that there is no room for these reservations, and only your capability, your energy, how you perform, your innovative methods, how the strategic thinking, all these give you more scope to move up to the ladder or give out your performance in a better manner in the organization. So I can say this can be the basic difference between the government organization and the private organization. Now we will move on to the next subheading, that is the scope of HRM. The scope of HRM is, it is now, as we have discussed, the most importance of the concept called HRM, how it is being different, being exercised in the government sector and as well as in the private sector. Now, in the what is the scope? That is how HR can be initiated, can be moved forward. We have to discuss in this scope. In this, I can say that the scope varies from organization to organization. That is, the scope of HRM, the scope of human resource, the intake of the people, the promotions of the people or the placements, everything will be different from organization to organization. As I told you, while explaining the government sector and the private sector, when we see the government sector, we have the same norms which are to be the rules and regulations or the guidelines, I can say, will be almost same for the all the jobs. But can we put the same concept in the private organizations? No, we cannot. Why? Because the private sector, each organization has its own rules and regulations, comes out with their own guidelines, eligibility criteria, how they have to take in the people, how they have to scrutinize the people, how they have to search for the people, when the notifications have to be given out, who should be addressing these notifications, everything will be different. And it is whole and soul the responsibility of the management, and it is the sole decision making will be with the management of that organization only. So it has no, we cannot compare a private organization and a government organization, as means we cannot say that both government organization and private organization are the same, because both of them work in a very, very different manner and their rules and regulations are different. And one important thing we should remember here is the government has organization also works on the legal guidelines, and as well as the private organizations also work on their legal framework, that is the laws under which every person has to be recruited, or what are the I can say that the labor organizations comes out with some laws whereby all these organizations have to maintain them. So we can say that the organizations, the scope of HRM will be different, or will be different based on the size of the organization. That is, if it is a small organization, the people will be less in number and they need less in number, so they go out with a small number of notifications or a small number of people intake. The procedures of the interview selection process will not be so huge, or it will not be so cumbersome. But whereas if we talk about huge companies, that it can be Tata or Geo or the Ambani groups, whichever, which has a huge company, which has thousands of employees. So their recruitment procedures might be different, their guidelines might be different, their procedures might be different. So the scope of HRM, that is, it differs from person to person, organization to organization, and as well as the size of the organization also matters. Then HRM can be broad. The HRM broadly includes, as I was talking about, the promotion, all these. In this regard, also the scope of HRM includes planning, recruitment, training, promotion, development, and performance appraisal. Now we have come across recruitment and another important word. Recruitment is making a person apply for the job, or if that person is eligible, making that person apply for that job can be termed as recruitment. Now we see job notifications coming up in the government sector, in the private sector, where they give out some eligibility criteria that, so if we see that notification, and if we feel that we are eligible in that and we fit into that criteria, we will definitely try to put our resume, or or CV, or whatever we call it as, and we try to grab that job. So it can be varied from which organization to organization, size of the organization, sectors of the organizations, everything. So in this regard, it broadly, the scope can be broadly included with planning, recruitments, trainings, promotions, developments, performance appraisals, all these can be discussed. Now, we are talking about human resource many times, but you might have heard the word personnel management as well. Now, what is this? Now, personnel, what I'm using the word personnel, for it is not personal, AL, no, it is personnel, EL, the letter EL comes at the last. Personnel means the employees working in the organization are being termed as personnel. So managing these people, or that is personnel management. And the other one we are talking about is human resource management. So there is a slight difference existing between these two. When we talk about these two, there are slight differences existing. To name or to come up with few differences, I would like to discuss a few points on these. The first difference we can say between personnel management and human resource management is personnel management is the traditional approach. It is a traditional approach, and it is a reactive approach. It is a reactive approach. As now compared to this, HRM is a modern approach, and it is a proactive approach. Now we are using these two. That is, the personnel management is a traditional. As we all know, traditional means from many years it is been continuing, way back. From many years it has been continuing. So we come term it as a traditional approach. Now what is this reactive approach? Reactive means making yourself ready for the again and again, making yourself ready to perform that job. Re means again and again. So making yourself, or making the employee, or the employee striving to work again and again in the same method, or in the same old method. It might be about his mindset, it might be about his body, it might be about his psychological conditions, or whatever it might be. That is a reactive approach. Reactive means if somebody does something, you will also do. Reactive. Now, in HRM, it is a modern approach. Modern approach because, as I told you, this HR is, we can say, way back only 30 years or old, where after the new economic reforms after 1990s were introduced, this has become a buzzword. HR, human resources, and managing them, managing the workforce is also a very big task, because making the employees work for the benefit of the organization. Now, you might be thinking, is it so important to study about these human resource? Can we not say that these people will work on their own? Is there so important that somebody has to monitor them? Yes, it is very, very important to monitor them, because when we talk when a supervisor, for example, when a supervisor or under him, if 10 people are working, 10 employees are working, and when he assigns job to these 10 employees, when he assigns job to these 10 employees, and if he sits back without constant vigilance or without monitoring them with the hope that they will finish the task by the end of the day, then if that at the end of the day when he goes and checks it, if it is not done, then who is responsible for not completing the task? It's not the employees, it is the supervisor who is responsible. And here his work of non-performance or his non-performing attitude will be reflected, where he couldn't make the employees who are working under him, not making them work in a good manner, by not checking them constantly, by not giving them correct schedules, by not giving them proper guidance. This will reflect his performance appraisal, and as well as he might lose his job, he might have a cut in his pay, he might be answerable, he should be explaining his inefficiency. It shows his inefficiency. These all factors can be reflected in this regard. So in this HRM as this and a modern approach, so why have I have explained all this? Because in HRM they have to be proactive. In personal management they are reactive. Here they have to be proactive. Proactive means they have to be ready for the work in advance. They have to be ready to take up the challenges, the strategies which are being put forward by the organization, and they have to take it and they have to work. So that is very, very important. So they have to, in HRM, they have to be proactive. Proactive means they have to be ready for any task in advance. Next, second important one difference between personnel management and HR is routine function. Now, personnel management is a routine function. As I told you, it is a continuous one. Every day that employee coming, doing the same work and giving out whatever he has, the work energy with him, he will put it out and he will leave the organization. Means it's a routine one. Every day going on with the same work. Whereas the HRM, it is a strategic function. Strategic function because the organization will be in an innovative method, innovative thoughts. That is, every day a new challenge, every day new strategy, every day how to address the things, how to make up the things, how to move forward, having a collective effort, moving on with the everybody to achieve the organizational goals in less time period, not in the stipulated time period, in the less time period, so that they can have or they can see better results, better knowledge they can gain, and they will be moving in a very rigorous manner. Then the third important one, I can say, it's about employee employer relations. Employee employer relations and welfare, and in this employer employee, now who is an employer and who is an employee? Employer is the person who gives the job, assigns the job, is an employer. Who is an employee? The person who works under the employer is the employee. So the relation between, as we call it as employer-employee relations. So this in this employer-employee relations, employees' welfare has to be given more importance. Why? Because it is the employee or who works in the organization is the prime for the achievement of the organizational goals, because the employer might be having the strategy, might be having the method, might be having the money, everything might be there, but without the workforce, without the employees, can the employer move forward in achieving the organizational goals? No, he cannot. So he has to view the employees' welfare as a prime thing, or in the priorities he has to take up the employees welfare. Now compared to the HRM, here we talk about acquisition, development, utilization, etc. Now acquiring means how the employer, how the management extracts the work from the employee, the capability of the employee. It is not the daily routine work. Every day the employee has to be given a new task whereby he can excel his skills, because as we all know, each individual has their own capabilities and have their own skills. So when they are being given a platform to perform well, to exhibit their skills, each one of them will come up with an innovative thought which might help the organization to grow in a very faster manner. Now development is the overall development of the, if the employees or if the workers in the organization are being taken care in a very good manner, then automatically the organization will develop in a very faster manner. Because when everybody is happy, if they give their 100% for the organization, they will strive that it is I'm not working for money, I'm thinking that this is my organization. The employee should feel that this is my organization, I am the contributor for the welfare of this organization. He shouldn't think on only on monetary basis. So if the it is a vice versa process, because if the organization considers the employees as their family and take care of them in a very good manner, then automatically the employees also feel that it is their family and who have to achieve their targets. And the next one is utilization. Utilization is how the capabilities of the employees are being taken care of and how they are being utilized. That is, utilized means when, where, why, and how. That is, each person's capabilities cannot be utilized every time, everywhere. So each one of them have their own individuality, inner strengths, inner capabilities. So they have to have their inner thinking. They have to exhibit. When they can be exhibited, when they are being given free hand. So when they are being given free hand, the organization should be considering all this to extract their inner thoughts. So these are the differences between personnel management and HR. Now we will move on to the next subheading, evolution of HRM. In the evolution of HRM, we have 4 stages. In the 4 stages, the first stage is putting out stage. Putting out stage means this has evolved in the 17 and 18 century BC. We can say that in the 17th and 18th century, whereby we can say that now I have told you that the concept of HRM is being Now we are discussing it's a very young one. But when we talk about working of the organization, working of the employees, then we can go way back into the industrial revolutions, or where the workers were being utilized for production, all these. So we can go way back, and we can discuss the first stage of evolution of HRM. Evolution is the ancient period from where the concept of HRM has started. So in this first stage, that is putting out stage, that what is this putting out stage? That is, work is contracted out by a central agency to sub-agents, and who would complete the work in off-site facilities. That is, when a work is being assigned to or when it is being compiled it from by a central agency. Central agency is the whole and sole decision making unit. Now when they want the work to be done, they give subcontract, or they hire sub agents to complete that task. Now these people, they are also termed as domestic workers, whereby they do justice to their domestic work as well as their this industrial or the work which has been assigned to them. That is, they work from home. I can simply say that they work from home. That is, taking care of their farming, or because we are talking about the 17th and 18th century. So it might be about their farming, because mostly people were dependent on these type of things only. So the off-site facilities, that is, they take up the working from their house only, or the home. That is the first one. Second one is personnel administration or management stage. This is to ensure legal compliance of laws made to protect the workers' rights. That is, now when they are working, they have to have a legality. They have to work under the law. Otherwise, they are being exploited. Because if they are working for 10 hours, and if they are not being paid for 10 hours, if they are being paid only for 6 hours, then the organization is taking advantage of these employees. So the second stage explains us about a legal format which have been introduced, which will give protection for these workers to when they are working in their when they are working for continuous hours, and their wages are paid on time and with on par with the everybody without any disparities. So this can be considered as the third stage. Now coming to the fourth stage, that is the HRM stage. HRM focuses on strategic initiatives. Strategic initiatives like merger and acquisition, talent management, etc. As I told you, acquisition, acquiring new skills for the development of the organization. Merger, where if another organization is moving forward in a very, very efficient manner, clubbing both companies together to achieve the targets in a less shorter period, that is can be. And talent management is making the people, whoever is still talented, or whoever is, we can say, whoever has the capability, whoever has that inner strength to excel in a very, very efficient manner, they have to be managed in a proper manner to in the working of the organization, or we can say in bringing the, or in upgrading the organizational goals. That is the HRM stage. Now the last one is strategic human resource management stage. Strategic human resource management stage. In this stage, the true worth of HRM is being recognized. The true work of the HRM is being recognized. Now, as I can say that today, HRM is recognized as a key input for efficient and productive working of the organization. Why? Because the people come up with new innovative thoughts, new methods, new ideologies, whereby bringing them with new technology, new thoughts. Now, I can give you a better example. When we all have experienced the COVID times. So what did they do? The HR people, if they cannot work, if they but they have to work for the development of the organization to pay their salary, everything. What did they do? They have gone online. They have come up with social distancing mechanisms, all this to ensure that they work through and they achieve the organizational goals. Online systems, virtual meetings, virtual, now whatever we are experiencing now, the class, virtual class, this, because now we are taking the advantage of this only. This is a strategic method whereby we are getting connected to each other and helping each other to gain knowledge, to have a clear understanding about the subject, who cannot attend the classes regularly, who cannot come to the physical classes. So we can say that this will help the management or the everybody, the people working in the organizations, to move forward in the developmental aspects. So I can say that HRM in the present scenario is playing a very, very significant role and has given a very, very better results in the developmental aspects of the organization and as well as in achieving the organizational goals. Now, we will move on to the next topic, that is the subheading, that is the significance of HRM. Till now, we have discussed the scope, the importance of it, and the meaning. Now we will discuss about what is the significance of this HRM, how it is so important. Now, management is the study of 5M, or we can say 5Ms. Why we are talking about the human resource, that how this human resource is become so significant or so important is because the management, the working of the organization considers that the organization works on 5Ms, that are, I can say, namely, first one is men, second money, three machines, four material, and five is methods. Now, the first one is men. As I told you, the organization cannot survive on its own without the workforce, without the employees. So they need employees because they contribute their maneuvers in the achievement of the organizational goals. So men come first, that is the workforce comes first. Then second is money, the financial resources. Without financial resources, you cannot go for development, nor you cannot start a company, you cannot move forward, you cannot bring the workforce into the organization, or the employer cannot encourage people to join the organization without a better remunerations or better salaries. So money is a second important one. Third is machines. So as we all know, the organizations, the industries, the factories, they work on huge machinery, that is the huge machines. Many of the employees work on the machines to get the end product, the production team. So machines play a very important role. Then material. Now, if you have money, if you have men, and if you have the machines, and if you don't have the material, if the organization does not have the material, can they work? Can they give the result to the organ? Can they move forward? Can they be in the competitive world? Can they give out the end products without the material? No. So the raw material is very, very important in achieving the task. Then the last one is methods. Now, if the company or if the industry or the organization does not have the methods, how it has to perform on, that is a step by step process. If it does not have the step by step procedures, what has to be followed, how to bring out the end product, then it will be in haphazard manner, and everybody will be working on the same thing. So duties have to be assigned. Based on their capabilities, the methods have to be explained to them so that the end products comes in a better manner. So the significance of HRM consists of 5 important M's, that is men, material, money, then methods, and the machines. So these are the very, very important 5 M's in the concept of the significance of HRM. Now we will be discussing the next point, objectives of HRM. Now, what are the objectives of HRM? Why HRM has to be discussed? Why? What is the importance of it? How HRM will help the organizations? That is the objective. The main objective of HRM is it deals with the job holders. Who are these job holders? The employees who are working in the organization, who are being compensated with salaries. So now everybody cannot work on their own. So the objective of HRM is to deal with them, their work, their nature of work, their schedules of work, their work time, the salaries, or their absenteeism, everything, their coordination, cooperation. So everything depends on the HRM. So the basic and the most important concept of the objective of HRM is it deals with the job holders. Now we will move on to the next one, the functions. This is a very, very important one. Functions of HRM. Now, this functions of HRM can be divided into 3. That the first one is managerial function, second one is operative functions, third one is advisory functions. Now, what is managerial functions? The first one is managerial functions. Now, what is this managerial functions? Now, in this managerial functions, there are some components which give the organization the benefit of performance, or it helps in the better performance of the organization. In this, we have few components. So let's discuss these components. The first one is planning, second is organizing, third is directing. Now, when I'm coming out with these points, I think you have studied in your first year Luther Gulick and Urwick's theory, the classical approach, where they came out with this acronym called POSCOB. That is planning, organizing, staffing, all these concepts. So now they are so important that in everyday life, in the working of the organization, in the working of the system, these principles play a very, very important role. And without these principles, without these application of these principles, the organization cannot run or cannot function in a systematic procedures, in a systematic manner. nor the government cannot be. Or we can take the simple example, an individual as well. If an individual does not have proper planning, if he is not organized, if he doesn't know what has to be done, when it has to be done, how it has to be done, then it will be a chaos for himself as well, and he will be end up with no work or with no pathway as well. So these principles, these management principles are very, very important. It can be, if we can take into consideration, it can be an individual, or it can be an organization, and it can be an organization of the private sector or a public sector or a shop, whoever it is. It has this is the core of the management, or we can term them as the management principles. So planning, organizing, directing, controlling, representing, decision making, and innovation. So now what is planning? Planning is, it is a planning can be defined as a mental process. Mental process, that is, to execute something, you have to think in your mind that what has to be done, how it has to be done, how it can be performed in a better manner. So that is planning. So the organization, when it has to start, or when it plans up with an thinking of coming out with a new method, it has to plan itself. It has to have a planning, how it has to be executed, who are to be contributed, what has to be done, when it has to be done, how it has to be done. These all questions have to be answered. Then we all know the decision making. Now you plan, the organization has planned, organized everything, directed everybody, have come out with an innovative methods, everything. But overall, decision making, right time, right decision is very, very important. And if you have all the resources, if the organization has everything, and if they don't take the decision at the right manner, then it is just waste of their time and energy. So right decision at the right time on the right thing gives better results. Now when we put this in the HR, that is, when the people have to be taken, when they have to be recruited, when they have to be paid, when they have to be scheduled, all this has to be taken on the priority basis. Then only the organization can work in a systematic manner. So that is these are the managerial functions. Next, we will move on to the operative functions. In the operative functions, we have procurement, development, compensation, and motivation. Operative means on field. Operation means on field. Now in this we have procurement. Procurement means buying of the raw material. Buying can be considered as procuring, means buying. So procurement has to be done in the right time, from the right place. Then only the organization can complete the task. Then development. Development is when everybody come together in a systematical order, and when they are being executing their capabilities in a systematical procedure, then the overall development can be taken place, or we can say that the overall development will be done. Then compensation. Compensation means, we all know, getting compensated. Why we are using this in HR? Because compensation is when an employee is giving his man hours or energy to the organization, then that energy has to be respected by the organization. And how the organization will respect the employee? By giving them salary or pay, or we can say giving them a reward, or compensating them, because the employee has given their man hours, so organization is compensating their man hours by giving them the right salary, that is compensation. Then the last one is motivation. Now motivation is encouraging the employees to perform, encouraging the employees to perform in a better manner, that is motivation. Then the last one is advisory functions. Advisory is where the employees trying to give their advice to the top management in the better performance of the organization. That can be termed as advisory functions. So these are the three important functions of the HRM. So in this class, we have discussed about the block one first mod in block one first topic, that is human resource management. In this, we have discussed about the meaning, the definition, the differences between the personnel management and HRM. We have also discussed about the scope of HRM, the evolution of HRM. In that, we have discussed about the stages of HRM. Then we have discussed about the significance of HRM, how important it is, and then we have discussed the objectives of HRM, why HRM has to be studied, and what is the importance of HRM in the organization and in the present scenario. And the last one is the functions of HR, the functions of HRM, that is how the HRM works, how the human resources work in the organizations. So this is about the first unit. In the coming class, we'll be discussing about the second one, the strategies. Then now, if you have any doubts, you can come up. Okay. Thank you.